Although we usually think of Washington wine grapes growing under the sun in the Columbia Valley, today I'm taking a trip to Woodinville, where Chateau Saint-Michel has their fantastic white wine facility.
As a winemaker, one of the most amazing things about making Washington wine is that in Washington we can grow a huge array of grape varieties really well.
David Rosenthal is the head white winemaker at Chateau Saint-Michel. Although they make their wine here, most of the grapes are grown in the Columbia Valley. Why does Washington produce such wonderful wines?
How much time do we have? Obviously here in the Seattle area we get lots of rain, but in eastern Washington it's really ideal conditions for growing grapes. It's dry, it's sunny, and we have nutrient deficient soils, which is a little opposite of what you would think,
right.
But when we grow grapes in places like Seattle, and you can kind of see it over here, they grow big, lush canopies. Well, that's great, except that means they're not putting quite as much energy into the fruit. So if we grow grapes in places that have a little less nutrients in the soil, they put more energy into the grapes, which gives us more flavor.
Next, David took me on a tour to the barrel room.
This is one of the largest white wine barrel programs in the world. We have about 27,000 barrels dedicated to white wine. When we pick grapes and we get let's say 500 gallons of juice, we won't just put it in one type of barrel. We'll put it in 4 or 5 or 6 different styles of barrel, right?
Okay.
Some brand new barrels, which give us a lot of oakiness, some 2-year-old barrels, some 4-year-old barrels, and that gives us, again, different flavors and textures to play with. Within our 27,000 barrels, about 200 to 250 different groups of barrels. So we'll sit down, we'll taste a sample from each one of those 250 groups, and then we'll start to sort of divide up and really dive into each group. And we'll taste the individual barrel types within each group, and even in some cases, individual barrels within each barrel type, within each group of barrels. So it's quite an exhaustive process.
David, that is extraordinary. I mean, seriously.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And that's what's great about wine, right? It's this science side of things, right? It's fermentation and yeast and bacteria and acids and sugars. And then you get down to the tasting part, and it's this sort of artistic representation of what we think is the best way to combine all of these barrels into the various styles of Chardonnay that we make.
Then we went to the wine cellar, where David let me taste some wine straight from the tank.
This is our Indian Wells Chardonnay. We have taken all the individual barrels, blended them together into one tank. Really tropical fruit, mangoes and papaya, and nice rich style.
Oh, I'll take one of these barrels. This is nice.
You take the whole tank home? Yeah.
Finally, my favorite part, we sat down to compare 2 of their white wines.
The first one here on our left is our Eroica Riesling. These grapes come from the ancient lakes area of Washington State, which is right near the Gorge Amphitheater. It gives this wine beautiful sort of lime and mandarin character.
I haven't been attracted to Rieslings? Wow, I've been missing out.
And this is the wine that I always pour for people that say they don't like Riesling. The second wine that we're going to taste, our Columbia Valley Riesling, it's kind of the wine that put Chateau Saint-Michel on the map. It's a little bit more tropical in its fruit flavors, a little bit more peach and apricot, things like that, maybe even a little tropical pineapple.
I was gonna say pineapple?
We want it to taste like sunshine in a bottle, right? Great thing about Washington is we have this diverse selection of wine grapes that we can grow, and then each region produces different styles, right? And so we have this array of colors on our palette that we can sort of paint the picture with. You can really sort of taste what we call terroir, or that sense of place, right, in the grapes. And that's one of the things that draws people to wine, is that you do get this sense of place in each bottle. If you were to sort of write a checklist of what you want in a great grape growing region, Washington would be it.